I've got Mr. Lenzicki and I've got Mr. Reinhardt. Can you all hear me?
Judge, we can.
And hey, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Hello, sir. So,
Just waiting on my clients, Judge. They were in the other courtroom and they were.
no, I've got
Oh, good.
I've got Ingalls and Ronnie in the, well, it comes up, one comes up, Kaylee Ingalls, I'll bring her in now. That's how it comes up. And then
Oh, there they are, Judge.
And then who's Ronnie?
Ronnie is going to be one of our witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay. So anyway, I had the opportunity to look at, originally there was an order of protection with Carol Ingalls as a petitioner versus Ashlyn Russell. Right?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it's been extended a couple times after the petition to extend was entered, and I guess part of that may have been because of the ongoing closure based on the coronavirus.
Yes, sir.
So are both sides answering ready today for hearing on the petition to extend?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So in the bottom picture, which was Carol Ingalls? Excuse me. Can you hear me, Ms. Ingalls?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, which one of you is Carol? Okay, so I take it your mom?
I'm Mom.
And this is on behalf,
No, Judge, it's just Carol that made the original motion, and I'll ask to exclude Kaylin, her daughter, the other woman sitting there with Carol. I'll ask to exclude Kaylin when we start the testimony.
okay, so so the petition, the original order, who's the protected party?
Carol Ingalls, my client, Carol Ingalls.
Pardon?
Carol Ingalls is the original protected.
Okay, she's the only protected one.
Correct.
Okay. So anyway, both sides ready?
We are, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, Judge, just one preliminary matter. So I haven't done this. Can you give me an option to share screen in case I need to impeach, for example, Mr. Lester with his handwritten statement, or if I need to show a witness a picture? I have a 2-minute video also that shows something, and I just need to be able to, Judge, I'll keep it very compact. I just need to be able to share screens with you.
It'd be great if I knew how to do that.
I don't, Judge, it's a button somewhere where the host can just permit sharing screen. But
Okay.
it might be one screen back, and you know what I mean? It might be one screen back in your setup, but
Okay, it says one participant can share at a time is what it says.
okay.
You must be able to do it. Again, I haven't done these many, I haven't done this where you had to share a screen or do whatever you're gonna do. So I take it, anyway, let's move on and we'll get to it when we get to it.
Okay, Judge, yeah, I might need a minute to share something, but I'm ready for, if Mr. Lester's the first witness, I'm ready to share what I might need to share.
Who are
Yes,
you gonna
Judge.
call?
We'd like to call Ron Lester, Your Honor, as the first witness. We'd like to call him as the respondent's witness, a little out of order, if that would be okay with the court. Just because he's a lay witness, he's not a party, we want to respect his time.
Okay, so who's calling him?
I would be doing that, Your Honor, as the respondent. We're asking to just go out of order, please, with just
You
this
go
only.
with that, Mr. Reinhardt?
Judge, I'm easy.
Okay. Are any pre-hearing motions?
No.
No, but I will ask, I don't think Mr. Lester's there, but I would ask Kaylin, my witness, and I think there's another woman named Erin there, if they could step out of the physical kitchen or room that they're in so that they are not
Until
watching.
it's time for them to testify. Yep.
Okay. I have a witness as well called Tyler Wygand, and I'll ask him to step out as well.
Ms.
Tyler, can you
Ingalls,
step in the hallway, please? You can just go into my conference room.
Ms. Ingalls, then you just need to be there until it's time to have, so Mr. Reinhardt calls those people as witnesses, okay?
Okay.
You just need to go to a different room. Now, I got Ronnie out in the waiting room. Who's that?
He's the one that I'd like to have be our first witness. His name is Ron Lester, Your Honor.
Okay. Tom's moved all this stuff. Let me bring him in. Even though it's not a courtroom, you wanna get rid of the hat? Okay, you gonna call him?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call Ron Lester, please,
You wanna
as
raise
our
your right
first
hand?
witness.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Lester, good afternoon. Thank you for your patience in coming to this hearing today. Can you hear me okay, Ron?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. I want to turn back the clock. I want to go back in time to November 30th of 2019. Okay. You were employed as a bouncer or security guard at Mickey Finn's restaurant in Libertyville, Illinois, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your duties were to just maintain security at that restaurant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it true that there at that night there was a concert at the restaurant,
Yes, sir.
like a rock concert?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us about anything unusual that happened that evening?
A female came up to me and explained to me that she had a active order protection against another female in the establishment, and I clarified with that female. She showed me some documentation that she had, and me and another security staff member, we asked that young lady to leave the premises. In doing so, she was very compliant and did not cause a scene.
Can I stop you for a second, Mr. Lester?
Yes, sir.
So here in this virtual courtroom today, do you see that person, the young lady that you had leave the restaurant? Do you see her here in court today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is she seated with me here on this video screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's Ashlyn Russell.
Yes, that's
Okay.
Ashlyn Russell.
Prior to receiving the a complaint from the other lady that Miss Russell was present in the establishment, did you ever hear about any like trouble that Miss Russell was causing, or any scene or altercation or anything?
Judge, I'm going to object. Is he just talking about that day or that night?
That was my understanding.
Okay, then I don't have an objection to that question.
So, Mr. Lester, did you observe any trouble that Ashlyn was causing or anything like that?
No, she was not causing any trouble.
How far away from the other the complaining people was Ashlyn when this happened?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really good with math, so probably a good 100 feet or so.
Was it like across the restaurant or across the bar, right?
Across the bar, yes.
And how many people roughly were at that concert that night?
Probably a good like 80 some people. Yeah.
Was Mickey Finn's pretty full?
It was, our maximum capacity, I believe, is 100 in the whole entire building. So yeah, we had a lot of people in the building. Yeah.
Okay. And so once you made contact with Ashlyn, did she cooperate with you?
Yes.
Did she make a scene or anything like that? Did she threaten you or anybody else?
No, sir.
Did you ever see her break the law or do anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. And the cops came, is that correct? The police came?
Yes, the Libertyville Police Department showed up.
And they talked to Ashlyn as well. Did you observe that?
I did observe that. I was actually talking to another officer at the time when they were talking to her as well. She was kind of farther to the side of the building, the right side, and I was kind of close to the doors talking to the officer.
Okay, and they never arrested her or did anything like that, right?
I did not see that occur. No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lesher. That's all I had for you. Nothing further. Your
Okay.
Honor.
Cross.
Mr. Lester, good afternoon. My name is Eric Reinhardt. How are you?
Wonderful.
So, Mr. Lester, how long have you worked security at Mickey Finn's?
I've worked probably a year or so.
So this incident occurred in, isn't it November of 2019?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've obviously testified for the prior attorney, Mr. Lenzicki, about what you saw. I'd like to get into a few details, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But actually, before we start that, do you recall getting messages from me to return my calls in this case?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. You didn't get any calls from me in early March to talk to me?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's possible your phone number's changed. So let me ask you, who first walked up to you and said that there was an order of protection in place?
I believe it was an older woman, blonde.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see her on the Zoom? Do you see her on the Zoom camera, the Zoom screen right now?
I do not see her.
Okay. And when the woman told you that there was an order of protection, you said that she actually showed you something. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at that point, you had not spoken to Ashlyn, right?
No, sir.
Okay. And then did you go talk to Ashlyn?
I did with another security staff member.
Okay. And you're saying you then walked 100 feet to find Ashlyn?
Approximate, yeah.
How did you know how to find Ashlyn?
Because the person kind of told me where she was at in the bar and what she looked like, and I saw her from across, and I went to approach her after that.
Okay. And had you ever met Ashlyn before?
No, sir.
Okay. And you and the other officer told her there was an order of protection, or that there was someone there saying they had an order of protection against her?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that question.
I'm very sorry. You went and told her that she had an order of protection against her, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes.
And she told you that it had expired, didn't she?
No, I don't recall. It was very loud that evening.
What did she say?
Quite frankly, I don't remember. It was a very crazy night. I basically said to the security staff member that I was with that I would prefer her leaving because I didn't want any conflict to arise, because it was a very crowded place that night.
Right, but she didn't just leave right away when you told her to leave?
Yeah, when we told her to leave, she complied with us.
But I guess what I'm getting at is, didn't she actually disagree with you that she needed to leave?
No, she didn't.
Okay. She just left right away?
She left with us, yes.
Okay. All right. Do you remember giving a statement? Do you remember giving a statement to the Libertyville Police Department previously in this case?
Yes.
Okay. And you remember giving a handwritten statement about that?
Yes.
Okay. And you agree that your memory is better then than it is now about this crazy night in November, right?
I mean, I guess.
Okay. Well, just so I don't do this improperly, let me ask you a question. was there anything that you needed to, was there anything that you needed to clarify with her, or did she disagree with you in any way about the order of protection?
No, not at all.
So you said there's an order of protection and she said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
She didn't say that, but like I said, sir, there was a lot of stuff happening that night. We just broke up a fight in the back of the establishment prior to getting notified with this incident. So my mind was kind of all over the place that night. I'm going to tell you right now, she was very compliant. She wasn't a threat whatsoever to anybody in the bar. To make sure that there was no conflict to arise, me and the other security staff member asked her to leave the premises for that evening.
And you
She's
didn't
more
have
than.
to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
She's more, and I told her that she is more than welcome to come back anytime she wants. But for tonight, because I didn't want any conflict to arise, I asked her to leave the premises with the other security personnel.
Okay, and was she upset by that in any way?
No, she was not.
Have you seen Ashlyn since this incident?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. And so, do you recall giving as I said, you gave this statement to the Libertyville Police Department? Your Honor, I'd seek permission to publish the statement to the witness.
Okay.
No objection.
Make sure I can. Mr. Lester, can you see that statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Didn't you in fact write in that statement that you had to explain the situation and clarify that there was an order of protection against her?
If you don't mind, can I please zoom in on it to read it better?
Sure.
So I believe what you're getting at is the individual that said that she had the order of protection against Ashlyn. We clarified with her about that when she showed us that information she had with her, and that's when we approached Ashlyn after that. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so you didn't have to clarify anything with Ashlyn whatsoever. She didn't disagree with you in any way.
No, sir.
All right. Did you later have a conversation? With the older woman, the blonde woman named Carol?
No. Oh, yes, I did.
And what was that? Tell me about that conversation.
I basically told her that we got the female that she had the order of protection with out of the establishment, and she's not going to be coming back that night. That's pretty much it.
Okay. And did you ever tell the other woman, the original woman with the order of protection, that you had lied about whether or not Ashlyn was willing to leave that night?
Objection.
Yeah, sustained.
Did you have a conversation with the older woman about whether Ashlyn was willing to leave that night? Did you?
Did I have a conversation with the female that she was going to leave?
No.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Mr. Ryan, who's the female? Because
Judge, everybody's here in the room. The older woman is.
but he already testified that he didn't recognize that woman.
Well, that's okay. Okay. Well, that's exactly why I'm calling her the female, Judge, because he hasn't identified her, but I don't even think Mr. Lenzicki is going to disagree that it's obviously Carol Ingalls we're talking about.
Okay, so what's the issue here?
Judge has an offer.
What's the relevance? That you first brought this on first brought in his statement that he gave to the police officer, which, or the written statement, which doesn't go against anything he testified to in his oral testimony just now. So where are we going with this?
So unrelated to that statement, I believe that he made a statement to my client that he had lied to the police about whether Ashland was willing to leave that day. And that's what my client would testify to. So it's not, I have Ronnie here, I have my client here. I'm not asking for hearsay outside of anyone in the room. It's directly between these two people.
Here's the issue. She was there. He talked to her. She left, presumably. She didn't stay in the building, right?
Well, that's what he says, Judge. Yes, that's his testimony so far.
Okay.
So I think the truth is something different, and I just want to ask him about whether he had a conversation with Carol, my client, about whether Ashland was initially willing to leave.
Okay.
So, Mr. Lester, didn't you in fact tell?
You want to pull that off the
Of course,
screen?
Judge. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have done it earlier. So, Mr. Lester, in fact, didn't you tell the woman who told you there was an order of protection that that Ashland hadn't left originally?
No, I did not. I told her that she complied with us and she left, and we made her leave.
And you didn't tell her that you gave wrong information to the police?
Objection asked and answered.
I thought that objection was sustained earlier.
No, it was overruled. Go ahead, answer the question.
Did you say to the police, did you tell her you gave wrong information to the police in order to move quickly through this?
No.
Did you give her any statements whatsoever about the police?
No.
Okay.
No. Here's the thing with the police. I didn't.
There's no question pending right now, sir. So
Okay.
just wait till they ask you a question.
I don't have any other questions, Judge.
Nothing further. I don't have anything further based on that, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, you're out of here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lester.
Okay, now I guess we're back to you calling witnesses, Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes.
as the petitioner.
So Judge, I'll start with Ms. Russell. I'll start with Ashland.
Okay.
Okay, do we swear in, Judge, or I don't know how we do that in?
Ms. Russell, you want to raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Russell, let's just go right to the Mickey Finn's incident. Were you present at Mickey Finn's on November 30th, 2019?
Vice President, yes.
Okay. And you were present and you were there for a concert, is that right?
I was, yes. We were seeing a band.
Okay. And you were there with your boyfriend, Tyler, is that right?
I was, and two of our friends.
Okay. And when you were there seeing the band, did you see a woman you know to be Carol Ingalls?
No, I did not see her.
You never saw her?
No.
Did you ever point at her while you were standing next to your boyfriend?
No, I did not.
You did not point at her through a window and mouth any words to her?
No, I did not.
Okay. And so how did you find out Carol was there?
The security guard approached me and informed me that somebody had a restraining order against me and that they needed me to leave the premises, and I don't have those against anybody else, so.
Okay, and you instantly left the premises?
I said, my boyfriend's on his way back from the bathroom. Do you mind standing with me? Well, he comes, I watched him. He was coming back. I said, will you walk with me out as soon as he gets here? So I explained to Tyler, I said, we have to go. I'll tell you about it later. And then he said, okay, the security guard walked with me out. Tyler grabbed our jackets and let our friends know we were leaving. And then we went and stood outside to call an Uber. And then the Libertyville police showed up.
And did you speak to the Libertyville Police Department?
I did.
Okay. And so while you were waiting outside, did you see a woman you know to be named Kaylin Ingalls?
I didn't see any of them. I didn't recognize them. I also didn't have my glasses on. I wasn't looking for anybody.
Did you, so you stayed outside to wait for an Uber, is that correct?
Yes.
And your testimony is that you never saw Carol in there?
No, I never recognized them. I would have left instantly.
And when you saw, did you ever see Carol that night at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. And you didn't have any disagreement with the bouncer or anything like that?
No.
And you didn't tell him that the order had expired?
No, I had not.
The order of protection was originally granted against you because of threats you had made to Carol?
Alleged, yes.
And did you eventually in November and December of 2019 begin posting about Carol on Facebook?
I've never posted anything directed towards anybody. My social media, I see it, I can repost it. Never directed at anybody personally.
Okay. Well, have you ever talked about, so to be clear, Carol is Ryan's mother, correct?
Yes, so my ex-mother-in-law, yes, correct.
Yeah, so, and you and Ryan were married, right?
We were, yes.
Okay, and so basically Carol is your ex-mother-in-law.
My ex-mother-in-law, yeah.
Okay. And did you at any time ever in, say, November of 2019, put any posts up about, let's say, Ryan?
I think during my divorce, which it might not have been November, I did post once it was final about overcoming domestic violence and how addicts can ruin your life. And it was more of an inspirational post. Again, it's my own social media and nothing's directed to her ever.
Okay, but you're aware that you're aware that you guys travel in the same circles, right?
No, I mean, not very. Before I met her son through a dating app, I didn't know any of them. So
But
there's no
afterwards-
circles.
Sorry.
We also, again, and through our marriage, she was not part of our, like, we didn't have a relationship. Neither did her and her son up until the end. So it was I didn't know her very well. I think I've met her and her daughter maybe a handful of times.
And did you post things on Facebook that were about, for example, swinging at people or something like that?
I'm sure I've reshared a post, but if you want something to fit your narrative, you can find anything. So if something was taken out of context, I've never mentioned a name. It was never posted directly towards anybody. I wasn't thinking, oh, this reminds me of so-and-so and posted it. I can reshare without it being taken personally.
Yeah. Did you ever make a post about, for example, talking about Ryan's parents, or if Ryan was terrible, then it can kind of be explained by Carol?
I could have posted something about learned behaviors, but I believe that on anything, it's a psychology outlook. You learn behavior as a child, and if your parents enable it, it's a learned behavior. And that doesn't just fit him, that's the general population of people.
Okay. After the order of protection was entered, did you ever put up a post that says, it's almost comical when you've wondered how someone could think it's acceptable to be as such a terrible human, then you meet their parents?
That was actually directed at a child my daughter went to school with. I know exactly what you're talking about, and her name was Nova. But again, if it fits a narrative, it wasn't directed to anyone personally. And, I'm sorry if it was.
Okay. And was that posted also in the context of talking about Ryan's abuse of you?
The horrible person post?
Yeah.
No. So that was about a girl named Nova that pushed my daughter off a gymnastics playground.
Okay. And then you met her.
Her parents, yes, they were. I well understood. Like I said, learned behaviors.
And did you post anything negative about Ryan after the order of protection was entered?
I'm sure I have. He almost murdered me, and the order of protection wasn't for him. If anything, I had protection from him. That man destroyed my life. I think I have the right to be verbal about that, especially to help other women get out of situations that are similar. I won't apologize for that, and I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I'm sorry, but
I'll ask you questions about that.
Did you ever post anything about being violent yourself?
I really am not sure, like being violent and how. I mean, maybe I've shared a post or two, like if it fits the narrative. I don't have it in front of me to tell you the exact reference, but I'm not a violent person. I have a heart condition. I can barely make it up a flight of stairs.
Well, for example, did you ever post, my only regret is that I didn't swing on a few people when I should have?
I shared that because it was funny. It wasn't directed at anybody.
Okay.
And I didn't originally post that. I wasn't the original author of that.
Okay.
Just a shared post.
Okay. And is that something that you felt about not swinging on more people?
No, I found it comical.
Okay. And have you ever posted pictures of yourself? Have you ever posted pictures of yourself after the order of protection was in effect with guns?
If I've shared a modeling post that was from now, maybe 4 years ago, with fake weapons for a grindhouse photo shoot that was a paid opportunity, I'm sure I have because I do modeling work. I've done horror shoots, I've done FX work. But yes, I'm sure that if a post was shared. But again, it was never directed towards anybody. It was a modeling opportunity that was done with a professional, and they weren't real weapons. I don't own any weapons.
Do your posts refer in any way to a modeling shoot or anything like that? Like this was done for a modeling shoot? Or do they just show you with handguns and knives and shotguns? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can. I guess.
Ashlyn, I was just asking if the pictures of guns and knives, we may have lost them, Judge. Whether the
You
guns
hear
and
me?
knives said anything about
Lenzacki,
modeling.
hear me? Can you hear us, Mr. Lenzacki? Mr. Lenzacki? Maybe we lost him.
I think it was just the one question, Judge, so. And I'm almost done, Your Honor.
No, but I've lost them, so.
Sorry, Judge, we had some internet connectivity issues. Are we back on?
You're back on now.
I'm sorry about that, Your Honor. My internet died, but we ready to resume.
Okay, I think one of my last questions will be, do any of the references to the guns or the knives, are there any references to modeling?
I'm sure that the photo credit goes to a modeler. It's Rare Exposures. They're accredited photographer and FX makeup artist. So I'm sure it's been, I've posted something about after my stroke, how I've overcome and how it's been nice to get back in front of the camera and things like that. So, I mean, it could be referencing it. I'd have to look at the exact post.
Okay. And finally, just a couple more questions. Have you ever referred to yourself as wanting to burn it all down?
Like burning Elmo, like the meme, I'm sure, like when your day's going bad, just burn it all down. It's
No.
I don't want to burn anything down. I don't even like fire.
No, more like after the order of protection was in effect, just breathe, anger is a secondary emotion, me to me when I'm upset, burn it all down.
I have a life outside of this that I deal with. I have a lot of medical issues that haven't been going my way. I was not referencing this.
Okay.
And anger is a secondary emotion. I'm sure I was devastated at the fact of where my medical conditions have been. And no, this isn't great added extra stress, but I'm not going to refer to it. It's no one else's business.
Okay. And do you know Carol Engel's daughter and Ryan's sister, Kaylin?
I mean, I know of her, yes. I've met her a couple times.
Where have you met her?
Their house,
Ever seen her out anywhere else?
no.
Are you employed right now?
No, sir, I'm laid off.
Okay, how were you employed prior to, and I'm sorry to hear that, prior to COVID, how were you employed?
I did event coordination and bar operations for a couple different local establishments, and I did event bookings. I did like big events. So I worked in the bar industry, and then I also taught ballroom dancing.
And where do you live right now?
I mean, I live in Antioch.
Okay. And did some of the bars that your work was at, did that take you to Libertyville, like Mickey Finn's and O'Toole's?
Not O'Toole's. I've only been to O'Toole's, I think the one in Gurnee once, probably, I don't know, 9 months ago. And then the other O'Toole's I've been to maybe twice in the last 2 years. So no, I don't really go there frequently. Mickey Finn's, when they have bands that I'm interested in possibly having, making a connection with and exchanging information and future bookings, then yeah, I mean, my work can take me anywhere. I've been to Buffalo Grove, I've been to Chicago. Musicians go everywhere, so.
Have you ever seen, last couple questions, have you ever seen Kaylin, Carol's daughter, at any of your work, like just during work? Have you ever seen her?
No.
You never seen her at all?
No, I'm not.
Judge, I'm just checking my, exhibits to see if I need to use anything. All right, Judge, I don't have any other questions of Ashlyn right now.
Mr. Lindsay, any questions?
I don't have any cross-examination of Ashlyn based on what Mr. Reinhardt has asked her, but I might call her in my case in chief.
Okay. Next witness, Mr. Reinhardt.
Okay, I'll call Kaylin Ingalls, and then I'll probably finish up with Carol. But I'll call Kaylin next.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
And Kaylin, I don't know if our clerk is taking this down, but could you please state and spell your name just for the common law record?
Mm-hmm. Kaylin, Kaylyn, Engels, Engels.
And Kaylin, is Carol Ingalls your mom?
Yes.
Okay. Just real quick, Judge. Kaylin, did your mom leave the room?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, she doesn't need to leave the room. You could motion to her if you want, but
Okay.
can you see her?
Kaylin, just so you know, Kaylin.
Yeah.
Since your mom's a party to it, she can be present when other witnesses are testifying, whereas because you're just a witness, that's why you had to leave the room. But your mom can come back in here and should be back here unless she doesn't want to be here.
Okay,
So.
should I talk?
Yeah, go get her. Yeah, go get her. I'm sorry, Judge. I didn't explain that wrinkle.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll just probably have you move over there. You can watch.
So, Kaylin, were you out with, is Carol Ingalls your mom?
Yes.
Were you out with your mom on November 30th, 2019?
Yes.
Where were you?
Mickey Finn's.
All right. And did you, what were you all doing there?
We were joining my friend and her mom for like a little girls' night and a dinner, and then also meeting up with Aaron.
Okay.
who was my
And did you eventually see somebody you know as Ashlyn Russell?
Yes.
Where did you see her?
I saw her inside the establishment.
Okay. And what did you, oh, go ahead.
She was, we had a table next to the window near the entrance, and we had sight of her diagonally kind of facing through the glass, we could see her. And then also on the other side of where the entrance door is, she was standing probably like 25 feet away.
Okay, and did you ever see her, you said about 25 feet?
Hmm.
Okay, and did you ever see her look over at you and your mom?
Yes.
What did you see?
It was right after my mom had first seen her, and then my mom had turned to me and then told me like Ashlyn's here, and she like motioned to where she was so that I could see her too. Because at first I was facing the opposite direction, and then when I looked, we had made eye contact as well because she had seen us.
So you made eye contact with Ashlyn?
Correct.
And what did Ashlyn do?
At that point, I had just turned around and then told my mom that I was going to go to the manager because I knew that my mom has an order of protection against her, and I felt like really like scared, nervous, I guess, about like what was going to happen. I didn't want anything to happen, so I told my mom I was going to go with the manager and see what we could do about the situation.
And is that what you did?
Yes.
Okay. And you made eye contact with her.
Yes.
Okay. And had you seen her before? Obviously, since she was married to your brother.
Yep.
And did you go and you went and talked to the manager?
Correct.
And not getting into what the manager said, but what did you see happen next?
She told me that she was gonna notify the bouncer to see if they could remove her from the establishment, because I told her that we did have papers and stuff like that, and it was like legal documents that we needed to use, and that was what she did next. And then I told her that I was going to call Libertyville Police, and she suggested that I do the same since there is an order of protection against it. So while she was getting the bouncers to have Ashley come out, I made contact with the Libertyville Police Department.
And did you step outside to make that phone call, or did you stay inside?
Not at first, I didn't. I was inside still, and then that was during the time that they were going to go talk to her. And then as I was on the phone with the 911 operator, she also suggested that I step outside and wait for them because they were on their way and we were going to meet out in the front. So that was when I proceeded to go outside.
Okay. And while you're outside, did Ashlyn come outside?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. How long do you think you were outside?
Probably 5 minutes or so.
And what happened when Ashlyn came outside?
When she came outside, we made eye contact and she stood directly in front of me, about a couple feet away. At that point, I was just standing there on the phone with the 911 operator still, just kind of just in shock. And then she hadn't moved and kept going. And that's when the manager and my friend's mom had come out to come get me because they were worried that because she hadn't like actually left.
And how far was Ashlyn away from you?
We were probably about 3-4 feet. Her and Tyler came out.
And did you try to move away from her?
Yeah, so during that time I like looked back inside the window because I didn't know what to do at first, and I was just kind of sitting there because I know that the 911 operator told me to wait there. And then when the manager motioned for me to come back in as well as my friend's mom, then I proceeded to go back inside, and then I told the police I would meet them at the opposite end of the building.
Okay. And have you also, just generally speaking, seen Facebook posts that Ashlyn has put up?
Yes.
And how do you feel about those Facebook posts?
I feel, I guess, threatened by some of them. I just feel like I don't know, they're just intimidating, I guess, like scary, I guess, because it's about swinging on people. And
So Judge, at this point, I'd like to make a foundation, relevancy and hearsay objections, because I haven't seen any of these Facebook posts in this hearing yet, so I don't know what we're talking about.
And frankly, how she feels, counsel, how she feels based on them, which I haven't seen anyway, based on how she feels really isn't relevant here since she's not a party.
Judge, can I just tell you, I mean, we can just deal with this issue now. You may recall the motion does ask because, well, I can ask Caitlin if she still lives with her mom, but as an offer of proof, she does. Your Honor, the motion does seek to broaden the order of protection to include Caitlin because she is a household member. So I'm not alleging specific acts of abuse or harassment between Ashlyn and Caitlin. I'm being very straightforward about that. but because they are household members, I do think it is relevant.
Sustained.
Okay. Okay, just as a discovery issue, I do think Mr. Lenzicki has the Facebook post. I don't want there to be any.
No, I've seen the Facebook
Counsel,
post.
again, counsel, I'll reiterate it. What she thinks about these posts is
Okay.
not relevant.
Okay, very good.
Sustained. Move on.
Generally, Kaylin, where do you live? Where do you live right now?
I'm Mom in Wadsworth,
What's the address?
16060 West Dana Drive,
Okay, how long have you lived there with your mom?
my whole life.
They can't tell that you're a person.
And Kaylin, where do you work right now?
I work at Timothy O'Toole's in Gurney.
Timothy O'Toole's in Gurnee? Okay. And last couple questions. Have you ever seen Ashlyn out and about at any bars in the Antioch, Gurnee, or Libertyville area?
Not directly, no, but
Okay.
through social media.
What's that?
Not directly, no.
You haven't seen her face to face, but
Yeah.
you've observed other things that show that she might be at at bars.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see Ashlyn interact with the bouncers, or had you gone outside?
At that point, I had gone outside.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions, John.
Cross.
Yes, Judge, and thank you. So Kaylin, Ashlyn never said anything to you?
No, she just stood directly in front of me. At
Okay.
first, I thought she was going to say something because we stood directly in front of each other. And I felt like she was maybe going to say something, but then she turned around and then they were just standing there at that point.
Is it true, Kaylin, that Ashlyn did not have glasses on? Do you remember?
No, she didn't.
Okay. Is it true that the bar was crowded with lots of people for this rock concert?
For the most part.
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that, Kaylin. Would you repeat
For the
that?
most part, yeah, it was busy.
There was a lot of people there, right?
Yeah.
Were there people standing up in front of the stage to watch the rock concert?
Yeah.
And the bar was full with, hold on. I have a pop-up thing. The bar was full of just other people that were eating and drinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it raining outside?
No, not that. I can't remember.
Actually, you can't look towards your mom to get reassurance. She's there because she's allowed to be in the courtroom, even though it's a virtual courtroom, but
Mhm.
you answer his questions, you don't look to your mom or anybody else for an answer.
Do you remember, Kaylin, if it was raining?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. But it was November 30th and it was the evening time, so was it cold?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Just to make sure, you're not saying that you've heard any direct threats from Ashlyn to you, correct? No. And how old are you today?
I'm 22.
But you live with your mom, but you're 22 years old?
Hmm.
Okay. Nothing further on.
Redirect.
No.
Thank you. You can step down, which basically means you can go in the other room again.
Okay.
Your Honor, at this time I call Carol Ingalls.
Want to raise your right hand, please? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Carol, could you spell your name for the clerk who's writing down the names of the witnesses?
Spell the name of
You yourself.
my first and last. CAROLENGEOS.
Carol, did you get an order of protection against Ashlyn Russell in May of 2018?
Yes,
Why did you do that?
because I am afraid of her.
Okay.
Because she threatened me.
And how did she threaten you?
She had phoned my house. She was upset I guess her and my son were having an issue. She wanted me to go and physically track him down because she shut his cell phone off. To bring back her grandparents' van. And if I didn't do this, she was going to come to my house and beat my ass. That's what she said. She was going to come and beat my effing ass.
And those were those the exact words that she said?
Yes.
And did you also receive text from her?
Objection, Judge. I don't know how this is relevant to extending it.
Sustained.
And so that was in May of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did an incident happen in November of, well, let me do this. While the order of protection was in effect, so between May of 2018 and May of 2020, did you observe social media posts from Ashland?
Yes.
Okay. And
friends and family.
okay. And so could you generally describe for the court those social media posts?
They
You
were.
know what? Counsel, I don't want to have anything generally
Okay, fine.
described for me. If you want to put something in evidence for the court to see, do that, but I'm not, what am I supposed to make of her opinion of something generally described? So if you want to put in a piece of evidence, an actual, something from the media, do that.
Okay.
But don't do
Okay.
that.
Okay, sorry, Judge, okay. Did you observe a social media post from Ashland Russell that says, "My only regret is that I didn't swing on a few people when I should have"?
Yes. That was posted a couple of days after the incident at Mickey Finn's.
Okay, so that was after the Mickey Finn's incident that we've heard about, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And is she Ashland Marie on Facebook?
Yes.
And did you also observe a post? And how did you feel when you saw that post?
I'm kind of expecting that, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm worried.
And did you also observe a post in which she talked about people being crazy?
That post was posted the day I believe she was served with these papers to extend for her violating the court order.
But see, there's no dates on these, counsel.
I object.
There's no dates on these.
I got dates on them, Judge.
Pardon?
I said we have dates on them.
Okay,
Just a second.
one's June 20th.
Okay. I've got that one.
Okay.
Well, Judge, she can testify what she observed at the time. A witness,
Okay, that's
not
fine.
all pictures are, I mean, not all pictures have date stamps on them, but if she says she saw them, I mean, I think it's okay.
I have ones that have dates on them.
Okay, go ahead, counsel.
Okay. And did you observe in June of 2019, not June of 2020? Did you observe a post in June of 2019 about Ashland talking about burning it all down?
Yes.
How did you feel when you saw that post?
Scared.
Did you
Wondering if
also,
she's gonna burn my house down.
that what?
Wondering if she's gonna come and burn my house down.
And did you also observe pictures? Did you also observe social media posts where you believe that she had weapons?
Yes.
And how did you observe those?
Scared.
Did you also observe social media posts where she talked about your son?
Yes.
And was that from late November 2019? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And did she post a post that says, "I might be a fucking mess, but at least I never got this tattoo"?
Yes.
And whose tattoo is that?
My son's.
And is this a picture of your son
That's my son.
with the tattoo?
Yes.
Judge, if I could have a second, I said I was going to need a second to just pull these up. I think I'm moving through them okay. Did you observe a social media post at some point, and maybe you can tell the court when you saw this, about it? Judge, am I sharing screen right now?
I see it.
Okay. That it's almost comical when you're wondering how someone should think it's acceptable to be such a terrible human and then meet their parents makes perfect sense. Do you remember seeing that social media post?
Yes,
And that was from Ashlyn?
yes,
And it says hashtag learn behavior and then hashtag stop raising asshole. Do you see that?
yes.
Did you think she was talking about a child, or did she think she was talking about you?
She was clearly talking about me. She had made reference to that same exact post in the original text of when the Lake County Sheriff's Office was inside my house and she was texting me.
And is that from the original order of protection?
Yes.
And did you also observe a post dated December 8th, 2019 about my only regret is that I didn't swing on a few people when I should have?
Yes, that was 2 days after the incident at Mickey Finn's.
Okay. And how did you feel when you saw that?
Scared. Like, I'm surprised she actually didn't do it.
So could you talk a little bit, we talked a little bit about these Facebook posts. Could you talk about what happened at Mickey Finn's? Did you go there on November 30th, 2019?
Yes.
And what happened?
My daughter and I had went with her friend and her friend's mother. We were having a girls' night, and then we were waiting on Aaron to show up later. And we were sitting at the table. I was sitting next to the window in the very front, about 2 tables from the entrance. And I happened to look over, and I could see Ashlyn diagonally from me, and she waved her finger and motioned with her mouth, "You fucking bitch." So I looked at my daughter, and I told my daughter, I said, "Ashlyn's here." And I turned around and made eye contact with Ashlyn. And then my daughter Kaylin told me, she asked me, she said, "Should I go with the manager?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "I'm going to call the police." And I said, "Yes." So Kaylin went to go and get the manager.
And how far away from her were you at that time?
I'd say about 25 feet.
Okay. And did she point at you?
Yes.
And did she mouth something to you?
Yes.
And was she standing next to her boyfriend?
Yes.
And did you eventually go and get a video from Mickey Finn's that depicts this incident?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the video that I'm about to show?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yes.
And does this video accurately depict the motion that you've described seeing Ashlyn make towards you?
Is it supposed to be playing?
No, it's not playing it. I'm just generally asking you, have you observed a video that accurately shows the motion that Ashlyn made towards you?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I share screen? Judge?
Pardon?
May I share the screen and show
Yeah, please.
it's 20 seconds, Your Honor. It's very short. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Carol, did
raising it
you?
and toasting.
Carol, did you observe Ashlyn on the screen?
Yes,
Where? Top or bottom?
she's at the top.
And is she standing next to somebody?
She's sitting next, it's sideways. She's sitting next to her boyfriend.
And is he wearing black?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I really apologize. I tried to turn this and this is how it came in. So,
Hold on, hold on,
sure, Judge.
let me see if,
I think you can.
Or do something, but I can't because I'm not controlling his screen.
I'm right here. I was choosing.
Yeah, it's.
I don't think there's anything I can do from here.
Yeah, there's nothing I could, Judge, this is just the way I've tried different things.
Okay.
Carol, when you see Ashlyn crouch and make the finger point, will you tell me to stop the video?
It's literally right after they do the cheers.
But you
They're like that.
but you've observed it, right, Carol? You can
Yes.
tell me when to stop it?
Yes.
Okay.
Approximately 14 seconds in.
What time do you think it is?
I think it's approximately 14 seconds.
Okay. Now, did you just see Ashlyn move from her right to her left behind her boyfriend
Yes,
at second 9?
yes.
And is that the second where she crouches down?
Not yet. They haven't cheered yet.
Okay. But we're at 18 seconds. Okay.
There's the cheer. And there goes her hand.
That was it? So you're to her right. Is that correct?
I'm to her right.
Not to her left. You're to her right.
I'm to her right.
Okay. And does she mouth something to you in that moment?
Yes,
And she's at the very top of the screen.
yes.
And are you sitting at the bottom of it? And you're sitting on the other side of the glass on the bottom of the screen?
I'm sitting actually more or less in front of her because the stage is right there. And the windows, the tables that I was sitting at was up against the window.
Okay.
So he had more of a front diagonal view to me, not like a side to side. It was more front.
And Carol, after you observed her mouth, what could you read her lips? What she mouthed to you?
Oh yeah.
What did she say?
What? Do I have to say the whole thing?
Yes, say it.
She said, "You fucking bitch."
And was she making eye contact with you at that time?
Yes.
And what did you do after that?
I looked away, and that's when I looked at my daughter.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then that's when I told my daughter that Ashlyn's here.
And
my
then
daughter,
oh, go ahead. Okay. And then what? And then is that when she contacted the police and the bouncers and that and all that?
Yeah. Yes,
Did you see Ashlyn again that night?
yes.
Where did you see her?
She was still inside the establishment.
Did she leave right away?
No,
What happened?
the bouncer had come over and I had explained to him that Ashlyn was here, that she had just mouthed the words at me. I said, I have an order of protection against her. And I said, she's supposed to be here.
And did you see that same bouncer testify today?
I did.
And did he tell you her reaction to the telling her that she had an order of protection?
He did.
What was her
Objection
reaction?
hearsay.
Denied.
Well, Judge, I think it's impeaching him for his prior
He
testimony.
testified, that's fine, when it's overruled.
What did he say?
He came over back to the table we were sitting, and he put his hand on my shoulder and he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, I went over there and I told her that that I had an order for protection and that she had to leave the establishment. And he told me that she was being combative and that she told him that the order of protection had expired and that she didn't have to leave."
And what did he then say about did he say anything to you about the police? About what he told the police?
That was after.
Oh, okay. Did you later talk to him too?
Yes.
What did he say about what he told the police?
We were outside of Mickey Finn's at this time. Both of us had just had conversations with the police. We were standing in the front door of Mickey Finn's, getting ready to go back inside. And I said to him, I says, "They're not arresting her. I don't understand it." I said, she's not leaving. And I said, "What did you say?" And he said, "I told them that she didn't do anything." And I said, "You lied to the police?" And he said, "Yes." He says, "I don't want to be involved in any of this." And I said, "Why did you lie?" He's like, "I don't want anything to do with this. I don't want to be involved in this." And then he walked inside.
And that's the man you saw testify today, right?
Yes.
And how did you feel after this incident at Mickey Finn's?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, how did you feel after this incident at Mickey Finn's?
Afraid to go anywhere.
And did you see Ashlyn again that night?
Yes, she was still there.
Okay. And where did you see her?
She was standing about 4 feet on the opposite side of me outside.
And was she standing near Kaylin?
At one point she was.
And was she making any eye contact with you or Kaylin?
With Kaylin she was.
Carol, why do you want this order of protection extended for additional time and to include Kaylin?
Because of the Facebook posts, her saying that she's gonna burn things down, the post that she's made with reference of taking a baseball bat to my son. I'm afraid for myself and my family. My daughter is still living with us while she's attending college. It's almost like an obsession. It's been more than 2 years since this order of protection, and she just won't move forward. She won't let anything go.
And has she made other all right, thank you. I don't have any other questions right now, Judge.
Cross?
Hi, thank you. Carol, you said that you think that Ashlyn is got an obsession with you and your family?
I believe that, yes.
Are you friends with Ashlyn on Facebook?
No, I blocked her right when I took out the OOP on her.
And you know that you are blocked on her end too, right?
I would hope so.
And so the way that you have been able to observe Ashlyn posts is how?
Through friends and family that have showed me these posts.
Okay, so you're using other parties to Facebook stalk her and dig through her posts, basically, right?
I don't think that I would consider that Facebook stalking, considering that we're all within the same social circle.
Okay. Do you have a lot of mutual friends with Ashlyn on Facebook?
Yes.
All right. Okay. You said that Ashlyn made eye contact with you, pointed at you, and then mouthed some words to you.
Yes.
You didn't hear anything that she said, right?
No.
Do you have training in like lip reading?
No, but I can tell you that my son is hearing impaired. So yeah, I think we have a little bit of knowledge of what one is saying with their mouth.
Is it fair to say that
Deaf in his left ear and he's 60% deaf in his right ear and wears hearing aids.
Thank you for sharing that. Is it fair to say that that bar was dark and with kind of strange lighting? Is that fair to say?
It was with stage lighting. It wasn't dark.
Okay. Is it fair to say that it wasn't super brightly lit?
It was very brightly lit. There were
Okay.
stage lightings across the entire stage, and they were standing directly in front of the stage.
Okay, nothing further, Judge.
Redirect?
No, not based on that.
Okay.
I don't have any other witnesses, Judge.
So petitioner rests?
Yes.
So I don't know if I can make a motion for a directed finding because I've called a witness in my case in chief. So assuming I cannot make that motion, I'd like to call my next witness, Your Honor.
Okay, call your next witness.
Thank you. I'll call Tyler. I have to step out of this room to fetch him. I'll be right back, Your Honor.
Oh.
Ashley, can you move over? I'm gonna sit right where Ashley is. Okay. Okay, Your Honor. May I inquire of the witness?
Answer. Sure to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to state your full name, please? Spell your last name.
My name is Tyler Weigand. Weigand is spelled Weigand.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Judge. Tyler, I want to bring your attention back to the end of last year, November 30th of 2019. You know what I'm talking about. You guys are at Mickey Finn's restaurant, right?
Correct.
Okay. Tyler, what is your relationship with Ashlyn Russell?
Well, we're in a relationship. We're dating.
Okay. And how long have you been dating Ashlyn for?
2-3 years now.
Okay. So, are you familiar with Ashlyn's occupation as a concert promoter and that sort of thing?
Yes, she does
Okay.
all sorts of marketing.
When you guys went to Mickey Finn's that evening, what was the purpose of you going there?
To hang out with our friends and watch a concert.
Did you know that Carol Engel would be there or her daughter would be there?
No idea.
Okay. And did Ashlyn ever tell you, boy, I'm concerned that Carol would be there or anything like that?
No.
Okay. When you got to the concert, what happened?
We got there at about 9:45. The establishment was packed. We made our way over to the bar. I took everyone's drink orders, and the girls had to use the bathroom, so they went to the bathroom. They were probably gone just a couple minutes. It was very brief. They came back. We all took a shot and then proceeded with our drinks. We kind of surveyed, like I said, it was packed, so we looked around and there was no seating. So we went stage right by the patio windows and laid our jackets on the floor and kind of set up shop there.
Let me stop you for a second, Tyler. When you say we went stage right, that means you were in the standing room area just before the stage, like right in the front row of where the stage would be if there were seats, right?
Correct.
But it's a standing area, right?
Standing, yes.
Okay. And you put your jackets down and then you were hanging out?
Yeah.
What happened next?
We listened to just a couple songs. It couldn't have been more than 2, I want to say. And I had to use the bathroom. So I let them know. I said, hey, I'll be right back. I got to go to the washroom. So I left to the bathroom. And then I made my way back and I saw Ashlyn standing there with a security guard. And she said, we got to go. I'll explain it later if you would just come outside with me. And so me and the bouncer and Ashlyn walked outside. And she started to explain to me briefly, but I told her I had to let her know our friends had to go, or that we were going to have to go. So I went in and told them that we were getting ready to leave and I'd explain it later. I walked back out and we started calling an Uber, and then that's when the police showed up.
And let me ask you, Tyler, during that period of time, did you ever see Carol Engels?
I still don't even know what she looks like to this day.
Okay, so she's present here in this Zoom court meeting, and you can see her on the screen. She's a blonde lady with glasses on. That person is the petitioner in this case. Did you see her there present at Mickey Finn's?
Never in my life.
Okay. Did you see Ashlyn like harass or abuse that person, Carol?
No.
Okay. Did you ever hear Ashlyn like yell anything at Carol or make eye contact? Did you observe anything like that?
No, nothing of the sort.
Okay. Did you ever threaten or try to harass Carol or anybody that she was with that evening?
No, I've never even seen her before.
Okay. Nothing further.
Ross,
Tyler, when did you start dating Ashlyn?
Probably, God, 2-3 years ago, like I said.
Okay. And were you dating her in May of 2018?
I don't think quite May yet, maybe June. I know we met shortly after my birthday. We went out for some drinks. So yeah, I can't remember. It's so long ago.
Okay. And so Tyler, you said that you've never seen Carol before. You didn't see her in the bar at all that night?
No, not at all.
Okay. Did you come back in to talk to your friends?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't talk to the woman who you didn't figure out why you were being kicked out of the bar or what person had said you needed to leave the bar?
No, Ashlyn had given me a brief of why we were leaving, but I just went back in shortly to tell my friends that we were leaving. So we didn't just leave without saying anything. We came as a group. You understand?
Do I understand?
Yeah. Well, I was
Yeah,
just.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I got it. And so Tyler, did Ashlyn have a reaction? Did Ashlyn have a reaction to leaving the bar? Having to leave the
No.
bar?
No, I mean, obviously, she was, distraught, but, because we were leaving, that was it.
Did you see her talking to the bouncers or anything like that?
Well, yeah, she was waiting. She was waiting with the bouncer for me.
Okay. And how did she let you know that she was distraught? What words did she use?
Well, she was, I mean, maybe distraught wasn't the right word. But she just told me that we were going to have to leave because of an order of protection. It was very brief. It wasn't even maybe a 15-second, 30-second conversation. And I told her, I said, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I told her that I'd have to go back in and tell my friends that we were getting ready to leave. It was just starting to rain outside. So we were trying to figure out our ride to call an Uber. And then when I came back outside to call that Uber, that is when the police showed up. This all might have happened within just a minute or so,
Did you know anything about the order of protection prior to this?
No, I had no idea.
So when she told you that she was being kicked out of a bar for an order of protection, you were like, that's cool.
Well, that's my girlfriend.
You weren't surprised to hear she had an order of protection against her?
Objection, relevance.
sustained.
Did she explain to you anything about the order of protection?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Did she tell you anything about whether she thought the order of protection was over?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Okay. Well, Judge, Ms. Engels testified that the bouncer had said that she said that at one point. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Still sustained.
Okay. And had over the years, had you ever met her ex, Ryan?
The only time I saw him was in the divorce court.
Okay. Did you ever try to reach out and text him or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Never tried to message him?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
And asked and answered.
I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect?
No, not based on that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so you can go back to wherever you were before you were called to testify.
Thank you, Judge. And I guess my last witness would be my client, Ms. Russell. So I'd like to call her if that'd be okay with the court.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Oh, you understand, I already swore you in. You understand you're still under oath?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So Ashlyn, you've heard the testimony of Ms. Ingalls and of her daughter, Kaylin. Can you just really in a nutshell talk about what happened on November 30th? Where did you go and what did you do?
Well, we decided to go to Mickey Finn's because we saw that Modern Day Romeos are playing, and I've been wanting to book them for events. They're amazing. So we decided
The Modern Day
sorry.
Romeo
It's
is
a
the name
band.
of a band.
It's a band.
Okay, and that's the band you wanted to go see.
Yes.
Slow down a little bit, okay?
Oh, okay. So we decided we were gonna go there. We came in through the back entrance. We went up to the bar. Tyler took our drink orders. Jessica, our friend who was with us, decided we were going to the bathroom. Came back. We did a quick shot, took our drinks, and went to the far left of the stage to watch the show. We did a cheers. We heard of 1 or 2 songs. We danced. A security guard came up to me. He said that somebody there had a restraining order, and I said, "Do you mind waiting with me just for my boyfriend?" And he came back. I kind of said, "We got to go. I'll explain it later." He walked with us outside.
Let me stop you for a quick second, Ashlyn. When you say that you cheered, okay, I want to take you back to the video clip that Mr. Reinhardt showed you, okay? And did you see somebody that looked like it was you in that video? I mean, it's hard to tell, but did you see yourself?
Yes, I could see myself.
Okay. And then you like kind of at one point crouched. What were you doing when you crouched?
I was putting my jacket down because I wanted to dance
Okay.
as soon as the music started.
When you raised your hand, what were you doing?
I was cheersing, but I was a little late on the cheers, like everybody else.
When you say cheersing, do you mean like toasting with
Yeah,
a
I was
beverage?
toasting my beverage.
So did you have a beverage in your hand?
I did. I had Malibu and pineapple.
Okay, so you had a drink that you were toasting with. You say you were cheersing with them, but you're
Mhm.
saying like
Yeah, they
cheers,
did.
like Mazel Tov or something
Yeah,
like
they
this,
did a
right?
crowd toast.
Okay, a crowd toast. Were you pointing at Carol Engels?
No, I didn't even know she was in the establishment.
Okay, at that point you had not seen her.
No,
Okay, and did you ever like mouth anything to her?
no,
Okay, to your knowledge, did you make eye contact with her?
not to my knowledge.
Okay, did you ever see Miss Engels on that evening?
No,
Okay, let's talk about your eyes. Okay, do you wear glasses?
I do wear glasses.
Okay, and what kind of glasses do you wear?
They're prescription glasses. I have to wear them all the time.
Okay, were you wearing your glasses that night?
No, because I wasn't driving and I didn't have to see more than a foot in front of me.
And you wanted to look cute
Yeah,
and that
they're
you're a
hard to
girl.
dance in. And
Okay, they're hard to dance in. Okay. Do you have a hard time seeing people when they're more than a few feet away without your glasses?
Yes, even with my glasses, I have a little bit of difficulty since the stroke.
Since you had a stroke, when did you have a stroke, Ashley?
September 2017.
Okay. That's also caused you to have a heart condition, is that correct?
I do, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your heart condition?
So I
Judge,
have a,
Object. I understand the eyesight. I don't know why we're talking about a heart condition. I've got to object.
I can move on. I can move on, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. So, but I just want to be clear, did you see Carol or her daughter that evening?
no, I didn't see Carol, and I wouldn't even recognize her daughter if I did see her. It's been so long,
Okay.
and I didn't have my glasses on, so blonde hair is blonde hair.
So when you met the security guard, he came and talked to you, what happened next?
He waited with me a couple seconds for Tyler to get there, and then he walked with us out, apologized for what was happening, and I reassured him like it's fine. And then we started, Tyler went to let our friends know we were leaving, and we started to call an Uber, and the police showed up.
And then the police showed up. Did they ever arrest you?
No, they found it unfounded.
They let you go?
Mhm.
Objection.
Now,
Bottom line is testify that she wasn't arrested.
Yeah, yeah.
so let me ask you, Ashlyn, do you use Facebook?
I do. I have actually not been on the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I've been social media. I do marketing.
Is that important for your business?
It's important for all the businesses I was helping, yes.
Okay. And is it true that, you saw in the pendency of this hearing that Mr. Reinhardt had showed some posts on Facebook, is that right?
Yes.
Was it your intention to ever harass or abuse Miss Engels through those posts?
No, I've had all of them blocked from my social media for a reason. I don't want anything to do with any of it.
So for them to see a post on yours, they would have to use another third party who would be a fake friend of yours and that would then
Correct.
tell Miss Engels about posts that you had made?
Correct.
Objection.
All right. Well, it's not much of a real friend if she's doing that.
Overruled.
So anyhow, okay, do you have any intent to hurt or harm Carol or her daughter?
No.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross.
So, Ashlyn, when you heard that were you looking forward to the concert at Nikki Fenn's?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. Were you looking forward to the concert with Nikki Fenn's?
Was I looking for, I mean, yes, I like concerts.
You actually, okay, Ashlyn, you actually said earlier a moment ago that you were looking forward to this specific band, right?
I mean, yeah, I love Modern Day Romeos.
Okay. How many friends were you there with?
I was with Tyler, Jessica, and Nick, so 3 altogether, myself, so 4.
How long was it between when you entered the establishment and when you were removed by the bouncers?
It couldn't have been more than an hour tops. I mean, we got our drinks, this band started. It was a very short time.
Were you upset to be removed only an hour into your night at a concert?
I was embarrassed. I was sad.
No, I lost him, Judge.
Yeah, it looks like they froze.
Oh, we're back on. We had an internet issue, Your Honor. Did you hear that testimony?
Yeah, the last thing we heard was right around embarrassed, and then from there.
Yes, I mean, I was embarrassed. I wouldn't say I was upset. It was embarrassing. You know, Nick was a new friend, dating our friend, so it was kind of the first time out with us. I also, you know, this is a part of my life that I try to kind of not remember. It's a very heavy remembrance of the things that I went through, and I was embarrassed, but I left, you know, willingly. I knew that, you know, if there was a restraining order, I was going to leave. I'm not going to protest that. And I don't want to cause any more of a scene. I'm in the industry. This is embarrassing to my name, my reputation, my ability to book things.
So Ashlyn, you're saying things like you wanted to move away from this and that this was really heavy, but you're also putting things up on Facebook only a few days later, like that you wish you had swung on people.
Well, it wasn't directed at her. It was something I didn't write it. I saw it and it was funny. There's a lot of things that are relatable. It doesn't mean that it's just because it fits their narrative that it was directed towards them. I've gone out of my way to block many people that would possibly be in the same circle as them. Like I stated prior, I didn't know anybody in their circle prior to meeting their son. So I've gone out of my way to very avoid that part of my life. And what I share on social media doesn't mean that it's directed to them.
And did you have any reaction to the bouncer whatsoever telling you to leave?
No, I said, that's fine. I completely understand. Do you mind waiting with me until my boyfriend comes back? He's right there.
Did you see Carol at that point?
No.
So let me get this straight. You've been kicked out of the bar an hour into the concert and you didn't even know that Carol was there to warrant you being removed.
I assumed it was her and I wasn't going to press it. There was no point. It's a band I've seen. I could see them again. It wasn't worth the turmoil of attempting to pursue into my right of staying there.
And you went outside and you stayed, and you knew Kayla though, right? Because you had seen her at Ryan's house.
It's been years. I wouldn't, if I've seen her in a crowd of people, I wouldn't recognize her.
And you stayed a few feet away from her. That was a good idea.
I don't remember doing that. I don't recall that at all. If I did, I didn't know it was her.
Okay.
And frankly, if regardless of who knowing she was there or not, if the only person that I have that against me would be Carol Ingalls, the chances of her son might being there, I don't want to be anywhere near that man. So I was happily to leave anywhere that his family might be in.
Brian have to do with this.
Okay. But you didn't leave. I mean, you didn't leave the area like you were worried about Ryan being there. I mean, you stayed by.
I waited. It was pouring rain, and I waited under the awning because we were calling an Uber, and the security guard was right there, and my boyfriend was there. It is a little bit of a different situation than being alone in a house with him. So no, I didn't run from the scene, but I wasn't.
And you didn't walk past. You didn't walk past Carol or see Carol at all that night, right?
Not that I'm aware of. No, not intentionally.
Okay, thank you. No other questions, John.
Any redirect?
Nothing based on that, Your Honor. Thank you. We would rest.
Your rest. Anything else you want to do, anyone else you want to call now that they've arrested Mr. Reinhardt?
No.
So both sides rest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, argument, Mr. Reinhardt?
So, Judge, I think that, the order of protection remains in effect today. You certainly don't have any, you certainly have heard, you've heard testimony from Ms. Engels that the way that Ashlyn interacts on social media causes her concern. You've heard concerns from Carol about how she felt at the beginning when that started this into order of protection, which I think is a little bit relevant to tell you what the framework is. So the question is, the court may extend an order of protection if there are essentially good reasons. I think it's very clear that Ms. Russell continues to have feelings about this family. I think that it's not believable when she says she has no reaction to being removed from a bar. I think she's not believable when she says that she doesn't really think about these people when we also have these other Facebook messages. I think she is somebody who is still angry. And that doesn't necessarily make her a bad person. I'm not here to argue she's a good or bad person, but I'm arguing that she is somebody who needs to be away from Carol. The order of protection was in effect. And frankly, Judge, the only reason we've asked to add Kaylin, and I'll be the first one to acknowledge that there have been no direct threats towards Kaylin. The only reason we're adding Kaylin is because I think under the statute, and because I'm on my screen, I'm not looking at the motion, but the statute permits the household member to be included even if there hasn't been a threat towards the household member. So if I have a stalker, Judge, and the stalker has directed things at me, there's no doubt, I don't think in anybody's mind, that my wife is also, and my children are also covered under the order of protection, not because there's been a threat towards them, but because somebody may want to hurt, somebody else in a family. So to be clear, Kaylin has never been threatened or anything like that. But with Kaylin having a job in the bar industry, and with Ashlyn working there until COVID, you can see why they might interact. So it certainly seems like Kaylin should be included in the order of protection as a household member. I think we've shown good cause, Your Honor, so why this should be extended. The order of protection basically worked during this bar incident. I don't think it's believable that this woman who talks about swinging on people and burning everything down had no reaction. It's just not believable, Judge. And I think that the bouncer's description of her having, I think he was impeached, that he had to clarify some of this. Ms. Engels testified that she was told that Ashlyn was delaying leaving. And this story that she just accepted that Carol was there and obviously she had to go is not believable. And so I think the much more credible testimony is from Carol, that she says the eye contact occurred and that there were mouthing of words. I think that and we've lost him, Judge.
Mr. Lenzacki.
Oh, no, Judge, we lost him. I was about to finish. We lost him. I had 2 sentences left.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. We had another internet connectivity issue. I apologize for that. I was booted out in the middle of Mr. Reinhardt's closing, and I apologize to Mr. Reinhardt.
So,
last couple points, Judge.
You want to wrap it up, Mr. Reinhardt?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up.
Mr. Lenzacki didn't hear.
So I think, Judge, that we obviously have shown good cause. I think that the much more believable turn of events is that this eye contact did happen. I think she made the eye contact. I think she didn't care. And I think she mouthed those words. That's also what Kaylin said. Kaylin said that she was looking over at her. Mr. Lenzacki didn't really affect either Carol or Kaylin on cross-examination. He barely cross-examined Carol because Carol is describing this eye contact. It's just not believable that Ashlyn didn't make this eye contact. We saw the video. We've seen the social media posts. And the concern is real, Judge. We'd ask to extend the order of protection an additional 2 years. We'd ask to include Kaylin in the order of protection only because she's a household member. If she's not a household member, we wouldn't make the request. The statute permits that. If Kaylin moves, then that's a different scenario. But Kaylin lives in the house now, and so we want to protect the property. We want to protect Kaylin. We want to obviously protect the vehicles. And we think that Ms. Russell was in defiance of the original court order, and she should have to pay Ms. Engels fees for these proceedings. So we'd ask for that relief.
Mr. Lenzacki.
Thank you, Judge. And, having heard all the evidence here, and seen the video in the case, it's inconclusive. I don't know if they can really argue that that's conclusively what that video shows. Who knows what it shows? And the testimony here from my client and from Tyler and from the bartender, from the bouncer, is all consistent about Ashland's behaviors and actions that evening. I'm reminded kind of the song that "You're So Vain, You Think This Song Is About You." And I really feel like that might be the situation that Carol is experiencing here, because she's gone to great lengths to, seek the evidence that justifies or that reinforces whatever narrative she has in her mind. And if, she thinks that this extremely vague and tenuous stuff she sees on Facebook is all about her, and this is when my client's got her blocked, Carol has blocked my client. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. What are we doing here, guys? So, Judge, we object to the extension of the order. Ashland is not a threat to anybody. You can extend the order for sure. The court certainly has the power to do this, but an extension with regard to Kaylin isn't certainly warranted. Kaylin's an adult. She's 22. She should come procedurally with her own petition alleging acts of abuse or harassment, and she can't do that because she's admitted, and Mr. Reinhardt's admitted, there aren't any acts of abuse or harassment versus Kaylin. I guess if Ms. Engels had wanted Kaylin to be covered, she should have included her at the outset of the petition. But to say that some text messages during a divorce 2 years ago now merits the extension for another 2-year plenary plus sock poor Ashland with Mr. Reinhardt's fees, I think that really would be an overreach and abuse of the OP statute, Your Honor. So we would object and respect the request that you rule in Ashland's favor.
Can I respond to one thing?
Sure.
I objected. The only thing I object to Mr. Lenzicki saying is minimizing why the original order of protection was entered. He specifically objected to me getting into the details of that. So it's not just text messages. It was a phone call where she said she was going to kick her ass. So Mr. Lenzicki shouldn't minimize the original order of protection, because I'll put in everything about the original order of protection if you'd like me to, if the court would permit me to do that. But I don't think that should be minimized.
As my policy kind of is, or just my routine, I read the entire file. So I read the original petition. I read the original order entered almost 2 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. So I read the entire file. To come in here and not read the file would be, on my part, would be a disservice to everybody. So I did read it.
Okay.
At least to have a background as far as what had transpired to originally get the order of protection, because it is a matter of record. I didn't need to hear testimony about it because I did read it. Obviously, the order of protection was granted. First the emergency, and then the plenary order they were granted. So, if I'm not mistaken, I know.
No, they were, Judge. So
the plenary was. In fact, I saw my signature in there somewhere myself. Way
Judge,
back.
my only concluding remarks are that the reason we're asking to include Kaylin now is because she is now a household member, and they both are working now in this area of the bars, and we don't think they should be near each other. When the original order of protection was filed, and I wasn't counsel, when the original order of protection was filed, they didn't include Kaylin, but there's no reason not to include a household member if you have those concerns about a danger to a single household member.
Okay, the courts had the opportunity to hear the evidence. The courts had the opportunity to hear the testimony that was presented, had the opportunity to listen to the people that testified, observe how they testified, and look at their credibility. And the other thing is, as the court stated, I read the entire file. When I look at your petition, Mr. Reinhardt, it says on November 30th, when petitioner was at O'Toole's in Libertyville, she observed respondent. It repeatedly made eye contact with petitioner and mouthed words at her.
Correct.
That's not what the testimony was. The testimony was that she did it one time. That's what the testimony was. It's not what was in the petition. Then I have petitioner informed the staff of O'Toole's about the order of protection. When approached by staff, respondent lied and stated that the order had expired. That's specifically, and refused to leave O'Toole's. That's specifically refuted by the testimony of the person that worked at O'Toole's. Then it states, while respondent was outside O'Toole's waiting for the police to, wait, no, I take that back. Eventually, despite O'Toole's reasonable request, the Libertyville Police Department was contacted for purposes of removing respondent. That's not true either. Through the testimony of Kaylee, who testified, she talked to her mom at the time when this was happening, and she said, should I call the police? And mom said yes. It had nothing to do whatsoever with the fact that she wouldn't leave, based on what you're saying in your petition. While respondent was outside of O'Toole's waiting for the police arrived, she wasn't out there waiting for the police to arrive, because at that point there was nothing to indicate that she knew that the police were even called. She stared at petitioner's daughter for an extended period of time. They're both out there. One's on the phone and the other one's waiting for Uber. And then your allegation in paragraph 13. Also, respondent's boyfriend approached petitioner in a threatening, harassing manner while petitioner remained in the restaurant for her safety. Based on respondent's recalcitrance about leaving and her deceiving the O'Toole staff about the expiration of the order of protection, it is reasonable to infer the respondent directed her boyfriend to engage in third-party contact. There's no evidence whatsoever about him approaching her and doing that. And that's in your petition. Despite, and again, you said that she wasn't given a citation. There's nothing to indicate whatsoever that she knew when she walked into that bar that Carol was in that bar. There's nothing to indicate whatsoever that when she was asked to leave that she didn't leave, because again, the testimony and the allegations of your clients and your whole argument is that she's fixated on the petitioner and she's lying, and her boyfriend's lying, and the bouncer's lying, and everybody else is lying. But the testimony of her daughter was counter to what your petition is and counter to what the allegations are. Yes, it was, because there was nothing about, she called the police when she spoke to her mother because she was there. It's not because she refused to leave the bar, as your petition states.
Well, the question is the evidence, Judge.
I'm talking.
Okay.
You've already spoken. We're done with you and Mr. Linzicki and everybody else. It's my turn to talk.
Okay.
Based on what I've heard, based on what I've seen. As far as the Facebook posts, you know, that's the problem with social media. People post things all the time. People can look at them. People can get what they want to get out of them. But there's nothing whatsoever to indicate through any of the posts that were presented, both before the incident and after the incident, that it had anything to do with the petitioner. Frankly, based on what I have in front of me, what's been presented, what's been not proven in the petition, you failed to hit the burden and failed to show good cause as to why the petition, or the plenary order of protection should be extended. Therefore, your petition is denied. Okay? And obviously, because it's denied, the daughter is not being added to it, and there are no attorney's fees.
For your ruling.
So I need an order, please, because I don't think it's not one that modifies it, because right now the order of protection's in place, so I don't do one of the orders that I have to prepare. I believe it's a draft order that would be presented that says that the
motion to extend is,
I don't think
I
we
think
have
you
an
just made a motion. Well, the order has remained in effect until today, just through operation of
Yeah.
agreements by Mr.
We continued it by agreement a couple of times to get this court date.
So the order is over today.
Correct. Well, the tradition is 5 PM today, but that's right now.
Right, but I need a written order. I need a written order that specifically says that, because it's not a modification of the other order. It would be, I believe, a draft order saying that the petition to extend the order of protection for an additional 2 years is denied. Okay.
I can draft that order if that'd be okay with the court and email it to you right away.
Draft it, show it to Mr. Reinhardt, and then submit it to the clerk pursuant to the new system that we have.
And shall
Okay.
I send it to the 405 clerk, Your Honor?
No, you would send it to
511, right?
511 clerk, and it'll get to me so I can sign it, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much for your attention to this case, Judge.
Thank you for your time, Judge.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.